Alrighty, I think we're live and good to go. Hello,
Says
Noops.
live. Says live right up there.
Yeah, I think we're good. How are we?
It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood, man. NBA basketball is back. We got a tennis tournament next week. World Team Tennis had an absolutely fantastic final match today for the championship. Had a big comeback for the New York Empire. That was a lot of fun. Golf still happening. Baseball hasn't canceled yet, despite some poor planning. Hockey started today. It's like Christmas every day, man. There's a new sport, something else to take up my time. I just feel bad for my fiance. She may not see me for a few months.
It is nice to have sport back in some capacity, any capacity. It's been good. I mean, considering here now we're about to go into this is day one of a 6-week lockdown again, so we won't dwell on that too much. How about we not talk about lockdowns and we just get straight into the tennis that we've got in Italy today?
Sounds beautiful. Let's do it.
Alrighty. We might start. So there's a couple of qualifying matches left, and then we've got the round one kicking off. It is a little bit ironic that we're starting again in Italy, isn't it? Considering what's been going on.
It really is, right? Exactly. That was one of the countries that was in really bad shape, and it seems like everything's okay. I mean, props to everybody in Europe for clearing things up so we could have things there. I mean, we heard that the Asian swing was canceled, so curious to see if maybe we just have a European season or something this year. But props to Italy. Way to go, guys. Way to go, Palermo.
Exactly. So we've had a couple of days of qualifying. So we've got the final 4 matches in terms of, so it looks like there's going to be, obviously the 4 winners go into the main draw, and there's going to be at least one lucky loser, I think. So obviously that's to keep in mind when you're looking at qualifying matches as well. But we'll start with Arul versus Sasnovich. Has anything caught your eye in this match?
It's interesting. There's been a lot of movement here, back and forth. There was big support for Arena at the beginning, but Sasnovich has been getting a lot of resistance right around 2.1 or plus 110 for the U.S. listeners. It seems to be the money's coming back on Sasnovich. Initially, I was hoping I could get Sasnovich at like plus 120 or 2.2, if you will, but I don't think I'm going to get the chance. It should be a competitive match. Arena, is not a player that a lot of people know, but she is really good on clay, especially in some of these international events. I'm not sure, we'll have any of the South American events this year, but she's a real killer down there. I assume she'll do just fine in these settings, once she gets comfortable. So the number looks okay to me. If you were looking for an angle, I kind of like the over here. I'm flipping around a few places. I'm seeing an expensive 20.5, a cheap 21. You could look to maybe go over there. I think that this may be a 3-setter or a long match, so that would be my lean if I had to pick something. But again, was hoping to get Sasnovich at a better price, but I guess not.
Yeah, I think I agree with you on this one in terms of the over being the play. They're 2 players that I would generally like to see play a lot more tennis and see kind of where their form's at and how they'd match up, particularly when their styles can be a little bit similar in a number of ways. It does feel like that both of them will probably go on runs at some point during the match, and that does tend to lead towards the over being most appealing. I don't think there's any value at the moment head-to-head on either player. I'm just glad that Sasnovich won yesterday, so via retirement, but I got my first win for
a win's a win, baby.
Haven't lost a bet since March.
You should just retire now. You're undefeated.
Yeah, it's all done. All righty, we'll jump on to the next one. So we've got Trevisan versus someone who's taken a lot of attention and someone you, I think, have a French Open outright on at quite a big price in Kaya Yuvan.
Yeah, I do. I think I have her at 800 to 1. She's down to I think they knocked her down to 300 to 1 if you have bet 365. She's as short as 33 to 1 there. So really like that number. Young player, really good. Just quality all around, not just a clay player. I think she's going to be very good on every surface, but very good on play. This is a tough matchup for her. Trevisan's a lefty, and Huvan is not great against lefties, so I think that's going to give her a little bit of trouble. And I think the number speaks to that. Normally, I think Huvan would be a much bigger favorite, on this surface against anybody else, but I think Trevisan's play today and yesterday, I mean, she's had 2 really great wins the first 2 rounds of qualifying, plus, Huvan's trouble against lefties gives me a little bit of pause. When this first opened, I was surprised. I was actually chatting with our buddy Jorge and just like, what the heck? Why is Huvan this low against Trevisan? And he broke it down for me a little bit, and I went through and double checked. So thank you, Jorge, for that. But another one that I'm not jumping at. How about you? What do you see there? Steve, did we lose you? Sorry, folks. It looks like we lost Steve. He froze there. We'll see if he pops back in. We were just talking about the Yvonne Trevisan match. Saw a couple people. Hello, Almo, Jake, and Great Big Idiot. I believe Great Big Idiot is actually the WNBA insider these days, folks. So, again, waiting for Steve here for a second. I'm just going to take a minute and shoot him a message and see kind of what's going on. Oh, no, it looks like his power's out. So he might not be joining us. So give me just 1 second here to figure out what's going on. I'm trying to figure that out. Again, Steve was supposed to be on here with us. He's in Australia, far, far away from me here in Philadelphia. But I'll keep flipping through things here. The next first round match that we've got, actually, we're just going through qualifiers right now. So we've got Dodan against Podoroska there. I'm looking right now. Again, apologies for the pronunciation. I'm not really good at this. Steve's usually a little bit better, but again, he's not here. So onward we go. Dodan plus 125. I'm seeing Podoroska minus 164. Interesting. A little money has come in on Dodan, it seems. So, I was expecting money to come in on Podoroska. I think that she is a pretty good parlay piece. Trying to see if I can find a spread here quickly. Steve thinks he's coming back, so we'll see, folks. Fingers crossed. Seeing the spread right there at 2, that's actually pretty interesting. And be careful when you check around for prices. I'm looking at Odds Portal right now. Odds Portal's telling me Podoroska is minus 167. But looking at Bookmaker, I'm seeing minus 143. So maybe even more support coming in from Dodan. Just kind of a tough spot all around. Let's keep going forward. The last of the qualities matches that we actually have odds for right now is Pair against Samsonova. Pair had a big win today as a big underdog. I believe she closed pretty close to plus 300. She's plus 225 tomorrow against Samsonova. Samsonova been playing some nice tennis. Generally the better player there. But at minus 300, I'm a little confused. I mean, Par has been playing very well. She's super competitive on this surface, and that price seems a little out on me. I don't know if I am going to bet on Par. We'll see. I'm going to do a little more homework, and I'll post that on my account at _noops if I feel a little better about it later. But I think right now, taking a look at it, the look is Par or pass. I don't think that Samsonova quite deserves to be a minus 300 favorite yet. Looking back here, I saw... I'm not sure, sir, what your name is. That's just a bunch of letters and numbers. Simon Goodwin. I'm not really sure what that is. I mean, Jock Sack's a tennis player. I know Goodwin is a wide receiver for the Buccaneers, but I'm not really sure which Simon it is. Anyway, looking again at some of the first-round matches, we've got Roos and Vekic here. Vekic a decent favorite, minus 217. Generally a very good player. Oh, wait, hold on. I see a little loading screen. Is he back? That's good, man. People are probably getting sick of me talking.
I'm really interested to listen back to what you've been doing for the last couple of minutes. Sorry about that. My power's gone off and I've had to run outside and make sure everything's okay. There's some work going on next door. So anyway, hopefully that doesn't happen again. Apologies for that. How far have you got?
Well, I just ran through the other qualifying matches. We finished Yvonne Trevisan just as you were dropping out. Dodan Podoroska. I was a little confused to see money coming in on Dodan here. Podoroska had a really nice match today, I thought. I mean, went to 3 sets, but a good win for her. Interested to see. I mean, do you have any reason as to why money's coming in on Dodan here?
Not at all. She just hasn't played enough top-level tennis for me to be able to get a read. And that's, before you take into consideration the extended break. So it's kind of hard to gauge, I think, on that one. That's one that I'm probably going to be avoiding. And I guess also because you've got the lucky loser component as well with qualifying. We don't know how many of these other players that are in the main draw may not play as well.
Yeah. I was passing on that one. And the next match, Pair and Samsonova. Surprised to see Samsonova such a big favorite here. I'm seeing minus 300, Pair plus 225. So, Pair had a nice win today. I think that she's really competitive on this surface. She's been playing, I think, the last couple of weeks, so she must have a little bit of form. Samsonova's been playing as well. But do you think Samsonova deserves to be that big of a favorite?
Look, it's probably going to depend a bit on if the matches earlier in the day get done quickly. It's going to be a quick turnaround for Pair, I think. That's probably where the advantage is for Samsonova on this one. So I think they didn't finish until after midnight, did they? The Pair versus Kosovo match. So that's going to be a little bit tricky. But yeah, look, I think Samsonova's probably the more proven at the level, and she seems to have played okay through the first couple of rounds of qualifying.
Okay. So that's all the qualies matches. Why don't you take back control here? Do you have everything pulled up, or do you need me to keep going?
No, I think we're all good. The beauty of working live and on the fly, at least we know what we're talking about. We'll jump into the first. So we'll just go through in order of match start, I think, for these ones, for the round one matches tonight.
Okay.
Or today. For you. So the first one we've got is Vekic versus Rus. So we'll chuck that one up on the screen there. Anything that jumps out to you for this one?
I think that this match speaks to how bookmakers are really putting together a lot of these odds. If you look at just the clay stats, from 2019 at the tour level, this price makes sense for Vekic, but she hasn't played, I think, since February, March at the absolute latest. And Rus has been playing, winning some little clay exhibition events here and there. She's a really competitive player. She loves playing on clay. It's really a good surface for her. I was kind of surprised going through some of Vekic's numbers too. I mean, she's been really successful on clay. I don't think of her as a clay player, but maybe her serve strength and her ability to move combination kind of works there, like almost in the way that Mladenovic and Kiki Bertens don't feel like clay players, but do very well on the surface. But not a position for me to attack Vekic here. At the same time, though, I'd want maybe a little better price on Rus. I don't know. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think that's the thing as well with Vekic. You kind of look at some of those results, and like you look at the fourth round at the French Open last year, and that's there. Her ability to play on clay is there. It's just the consistency, I think, isn't quite what you'd expect. I know she dropped her coach a couple of weeks ago. It'll be interesting to see, new coach. I don't even know if she's confirmed having a new coach yet. I couldn't find anything. That has an impact as well. But she's been training in Monte Carlo. I think she did some training with Zachary. They've both kind of shown themselves to be on clay over the last couple of weeks. So look, it'll be interesting. But again, off limited form, it's hard to kind of get a clear picture on either of these two players, really. And I guess that's the thing we're going back to with these first round matches is that we haven't seen them play competitive tennis for quite a while.
Yeah, I think it's Rus or pass here. From a total perspective, this might be an interesting spot to take an under. Let me see what the total is. If it's like right around 21, this could be a really quick match. Either Vekic is not in form. It's 20.5. I'll probably stay away from that. That's a pretty good number. But if 21.5 shows up, I wouldn't mind an under there. I think that this is over pretty quickly. Either Vekic shows up and she's been practicing and playing well and just is the better player and takes care of Rus pretty quickly, or Vekic shows up and just doesn't have anything and Rus takes care of business pretty quickly. So maybe look at either whichever player you like better here, 2-0 or an under again if it ticks up to 21.
Sounds good. All righty, we'll move on to the next one. We've got Siegemann versus Bagu.
Yeah, the battle of the older former clay greats, huh? Well, maybe goods. I don't know if greats make sense. What do you think, goods?
I feel like Siegemann was heading towards great until she blew out her knee a couple of years ago.
Yeah,
that.
I agree. That's probably not giving her enough credit. I mean, taking a look at the line, I'm seeing minus 154, which is right around 1.66. Maybe a little closer to 1.65, actually. Bagu's plus 120 or 2.2. I'm not really sure what to do here. I mean, Sigmund's been playing. I'm not sure if Bagu has or not. I think she has. But Sigmund's just been kind of beating up on lower competition in Germany. I'm not sure really how good that is. Maybe there's a little value on her. I guess if I had to play somebody, it'd probably be Sigmund. But, one of the things I talked about on the podcast today and wrote about in my preview on deepdivemedia.co is just being patient. It's been a long time since you've seen a lot of these people play tennis. So unless you've been really good on the exhibition for players, really good about watching the exhibition for players that have been playing that, or, you're just a social media hound all over the place, finding practice videos of these players and putting that together. But just be patient. Take your time. We're going through these and there's not a lot of angles that we love yet, but just be patient. Yeah. It's a long week. Got a lot of tennis. We'll find something.
Yeah. Just because it's back doesn't mean we need to jump at everything that we see. I think obviously, with Siegemann, we did see her a lot across the exhibitions, a lot of slow starts, but seemed to win more than she lost. I'm interested to see how she goes in this particular match. I've actually popped her as a one to consider from an hour perspective if she wins this first round match. I think I like her matchup ability against some of the other players in this section. I think this is a bit of a, it's tricky to go with confidence because we haven't seen either of them play a lot of tennis lately.
Yeah, I mean, again, if both of these players were in form and we'd seen them play for a couple of weeks, that's a really cheap price on Siegemann. I'd be all over that. But little too much unknown. So, if you're looking for some action, I wouldn't mind a bet on Siegman, but I'm going to pass.
Yeah. Sounds good to me. And speaking of, and as I said, we're going through all the matches and we're not going to find value on all of them. And I guess this for me is another one that probably jumps out. The next one is Sara Errani versus Castella. Real unknown question marks with Errani. She's made it back into a main draw in 2020, which is great for her. But this one doesn't fill me with a lot of confidence or joy.
In a lot of events, there's a few matches in the first round that you can probably skip. This is one of them. This is definitely one that if this is on and you have something else to do, you can spend time doing something productive. Maybe just go do that and check the score a little bit while you're doing that. See it when it's done. It's not a match you really want to get involved in. To be perfectly honest, does either one of us know if Irani's even serving overhand anymore? You start with that, and then you combine again all the other stuff we've been talking about. It's tough to think about it. Errani is probably better on clay than Kyrsteia is. The line is a little funky to me. It seems like a lot of respect for Kyrsteia. But again, it's really hard to get excited about Sara Errani. Now, the angle I do like, however, here is I think that this sets in this match is going to be really short. I can't tell you if it's going to be 2 or 3, but I'm looking at a first set under 9.5 games at -135 on Bovada. Now, I know that could be a little tough market to find, but I'm sure it's a couple other places. What do you think about under 9.5 in the first set?
Yeah, not bad. When you're looking at these two players, we would anticipate that there would be a number of breaks across the match. This is probably similar to, was it yourself or Spread that used to kind of enjoy Ostapenko unders in the first set because just the weight and variety that can come with some of her matches. I would be surprised to see a tie break or anything close to it, given that that we're not going to see it third hole after third hole. But
let me see, is there a price on a tie break? Let me see. Yes is +250. No is -350. There might actually be some value on that now.
It's it will take a lot. The only way that we probably get to a tiebreak is if you get one of your magical 12 breaks of serve sets that we haven't seen in many a year. Alrighty, moving on to this one. We've got Herzog versus the young Italian Cocciaretto, and I'm probably absolutely butchered the pronunciation of that, but we'll roll on with it. Anything stand out here to you?
This is another one, and I'm glad that you said the name because I made Jorge say it on the podcast every single time that I had to. Yeah. Anyway, the young Italian here is an interesting underdog. This is another spot where, neither again has played. I wish that Herzog was in form. She's really good in these events on clay. She really just likes these small European events, but at -2.8, you can't. There's no way to attack that. At -2.8, my guess is the spread is 3.5 or 4, and that's just not a number that you should be interested in. Yeah, I'm looking at a 3.5 at -115, so even a little extra juice there. This is just a tough one. This is one I will be watching, though. I'm curious to see what the form of either player is going to be. Cocciaretto, oh God, I hope that was terrible. If she's in form, she is good on clay. Makes players work, doesn't make a lot of mistakes, and that might be really good in this environment where players aren't as sharp. Herzog, though, if she comes out and she's been practicing, her serve's on, she could move through this and advance a couple rounds. So this will be a good match from a tape study perspective. I don't know if there's a attackable angle betting-wise.
Yeah, and I think that's the thing with Cocciaretto. There isn't a whole lot of tape around clay that you can access for her. She was obviously able to play. I think she met Angelique Kerber. It was in the first round of the Australian Open, but obviously it's hard to translate that across to what we're looking at now. Herzog's too short, but that you're going to get a fairly honest performance from her. She won the Lugano tournament last year. She's proven on clay. Potentially, it might be a case of maybe with Cocciaretto can maybe get off to a good start, and it might be a Herzog kind of 2 sets to 1 type situation. But again, when we've just got tennis back, we can't be too picky. But there's nothing jumping off the page in terms of that match for me. What about this next one for you? I know we've had a little bit of a chat about it, but we've got Alexandrova versus Mladenovic.
Really odd
matchup for clay.
Yeah, it's really interesting line and really interesting movement. I actually bet Mladenovic yesterday at -101. Now the line hasn't moved a lot, but it's moved against me a little bit. I'm seeing +104 right now. I guess people are remembering Alexandrova's success on hard courts last time we saw her play.
Mhm.
She played in the exhibitions, was not great. This is not her best surface. I think there were whispers in some of the exhibitions that maybe her knee was starting to bother her again. Clay only makes that situation worse. Mladenovic is a very solid clay player. She makes runs. She beats good players on clay. She's got a good serve and power to hit through. Has enough hustle and enough smarts. One of the things that I think people maybe underestimate, this is another good point. I think this might have been Spread or even Jorge that brought this up, that, French players spend a lot of time playing on clay, so they generally are very comfortable there. So I thought this would be a good spot for Mladenovic. I thought I was getting a great price, at -101 or 1.99. Seeing it right now at, 2.04. Again, pretty close, but still some
Mhm.
value there. If it continues to shift out, I might actually bet some more on Mladenovic. What do you think?
Yeah, they're both players that at their best can obviously play great tennis, but they are tricky to kind of catch on their day sometimes. Mladenovic, I mean, she's made comments over the last couple of weeks that it seemed like her original plan was to go to the United States, but she's having issues with her visa. So that's kind of a bit up in the air. So it makes sense that she would be playing these clay tournaments. She's talked about wanting to defend her doubles title at Roland Garros. That's kind of one of her key things, that she knows that that's kind of a good spot for her. A little bit worried that she retired from her last exhibition match, but in this instance, it almost feels like they'll probably both go on runs as well in this match. Alexandrova can give you hot and cold and everything in between, and the one service game, let alone an entire match. So it'll be it'll be an interesting one. It'll be hard hitting, but I just don't know. Maybe Mladenovic in the hotter conditions can maybe try and draw more errors out of Alexandrova. I think she can sometimes play some more low percentage tennis. So if I had to pick, I'd probably go Mladenovic, but it's not with significant confidence there.
Hey, I still feel good about that pick. Again, like I said, if it shifts out, I'll actually put some more on it. But like her at the
Yep.
price right now, I'm in.
Perfect. Alrighty, we've got a couple more. So we've got the Italian Paolini against Daria Kasatkina.
This is a good candidate for that 12 breaks in one set that you were talking about. This is a match that could be really interesting. I mean, both women at their best work really hard on court and hit kind of smart shots, or it could be really ugly. I don't know. Kasatkina could be kind of bored. It might just be Trevisan hitting the ball past. I'm sorry, not Trevisan. Totally
Kasatkina?
right now. Sorry, Paolini. I'm sorry. It could just be Paolini, running around and hitting shots that Kasatkina doesn't feel like hitting. I mean, Kasatkina looked better at the beginning of the season. I thought that, her attention to detail, her physical shape was a little bit better. So I expect her to win this match. She's -179. Might not be a bad parlay piece. If you're into daily fantasy, that might be worth a tickle, because if she wins, it should be pretty quick. She should get a lot of breaks here if she's, in form and playing well. So I imagine with those odds, her price might be a little cheap. But again, this is another spot where maybe the total, again, this could be a 3-setter, so I'm going to stay away from that. Let me see if I can find a first set total on here as well, because I know Kasatkina is another person who likes to play quick sets. Yeah, I'm seeing over under 9.5 -135. That's another good look.
Yeah, and I think, and I've put this in my preview that'll be up later, hopefully shortly up on Betfair. I think Kasatkina is one of the great unknowns in this draw, and I guess in tennis resuming, in that she seemed like someone who was crying out for a break from tennis. She didn't seem to be enjoying her tennis. But you go back 2 years, and we're all a lot of people who are talking about future Roland Garros champion, quite proficient in play. I'm just fascinated to see how the break has impacted her, be it positive or negative. I think we'll probably find out. It won't take long for us to figure it out from watching, but Paolini played one exhibition on clay about a month ago, and came back from some ridiculous positions trailing. But this is obviously a significant step up in opponent. There's not a lot that Paolini does that probably does better than Kasatkina, so it's probably on Kasatkina's racket to an extent. But yeah, it'll be an interesting match. And I agree with you from that drafting perspective, of looking at Kasatkina as potentially a play as well in that smaller there's obviously a small field to pick from for drafting for this evening.
Yeah. Yeah, it should be, again, quick sets there. Go ahead.
One of the more interesting matches that we've got for round one is Yastremska versus Sorribes Tormo. A lot of the other matches we've got kind of have that, similar styles or match up relatively well, whereas this is just a complete mishmash of style. And, it'll be interesting to see how Yastremska backs up off her releasing her second single the other day.
If you have not seen that, and you're still mad at her from that other social media post earlier in the month, get over yourself. It's fine. Go back to her social media. Get this song. It's just, you'll have yourself a good chuckle. It's my favorite.
Dear. Anyway, look, this one's on Yastremska's racket, really, isn't it?
Yeah, this is. We'll see what her motivation looks like. We'll see what she's been doing for the last few months.
Mm-hmm.
Whether she's just been doing photo shoots and making music or practicing tennis. I mean, she's got all the talent in the world. She could win this event if she wanted. She should win this match. But Tormo's going to make her work, man. And I know it's hard for you to hear me say nice things about Tormo, but we're on clay.
Mm-hmm.
It's different. So her hard work. She's just she's going to confuse Yastremska. She's going to hit junky stuff at her. If Yaz is missing her spots even a little, she's going to make her work. So. We'll see what her attitude looks like. That could be a fun one to watch, or, if you turn that on, it looks like it's over pretty quickly. It's over pretty quickly.
Yeah. And I think Yastremska is another one where it's really hard to get a read on her form on clay. I think when you go back and look, she's only played 5 tournaments as a top 100 player on clay. In 4 of them, she lost in the first round, and the 5th one, she won the title. So you're really not sure what you're going to get. But I'll be interested to see it, and it's in a similar way that as we saw Yastremska against Wozniacki at the Australian Open. I'm interested to see how she figures this out. I think she, looking at that Australian Open match, she frustrated herself into a loss. She led by a break in both sets in that match, while being the aggressor. I'm interested if Sorribes Tormo can keep getting the ball back, how Yastremska is actually going to handle this whole situation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Alrighty, and I think that leaves us to one more, which is the last match on the center court for tonight, which is Kristina Pliskova against Maria Sakkari.
Yeah, the best for last, I guess. I don't know. I guess if you went through all these, I would put Mladenovic Alexandrova last personally. I think that'll be the most fun match. But Sakkari is probably one of the bigger names, and maybe people will think it's Karolina Pliskova, not Kristina. Maybe they won't see the R.
Well, I think Sakkari's had pretty good success against Karolina in the past on clay. So I wonder how she can handle the left-handed hybrid version that we've got today. I'm pretty big on Sakkari this week. I'm pretty confident in her draw. She looks like she's practiced a lot on clay over the last couple of weeks when she kind of, go roaming through social media and whatnot. She's got all the tools to be a really difficult matchup for basically anyone on clay. It's really going to come down to, I think in this instance, how many first serve Pliskova gets in.
I think even then, I mean, if Sakkari's playing her best, this should be a pretty easy match for her. Just her work rate and just her general athleticism is just such a weapon. And Pliskova is a player who some days is interested, some days is not. I think if she comes out and, it's a little later in the day and, she's not totally feeling like it, and Sakkari is just running circles around her, I think she checks out pretty quickly. I mean, Sakkari's game lines up really nicely with clay. If you look at some of her past results, they're not fantastic, but you got to pay attention to her quality of competition. She's had some horrible luck in some of the draws in the events she's played in. She just gets these loaded first and second round matches where, she comes out, plays well, and just loses to somebody that's better than her. So this is a great opportunity for her to have some success on clay. I like her this week. Didn't support her from an outright perspective. The price is kind of expensive. I think in this world of uncertainty, I want at least double digits. But in this particular match, I've laid the 3.5 games with her. I think that's already up to 4. Don't mind laying the 4 either. Good parlay piece. Good, she should be in probably all your DraftKings lineups if she's not too expensive. Big fan of her. I think she wins this pretty easily. And we'll see. I think, like you said, she's capable of having a hot week. So we'll see if maybe you're right.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a play posted from me later today on Sakkari in some capacity. we'll leave it at that for now. I mean, there's nothing going to be as significant in terms of high units, considering we're not going for a lot. But I think if I had to pick one for today to be Zachary at that minus, I think that looks the most appealing.
Yeah, based on what's still left, Zachary spread I think I like. Mladenovic plus 104, like I said, and then those two first set unders if you can find them. Arani Kirstea under 9.5 and Paolini Kasatkina under 9.5. I think those are kind of my 4 favorite looks as we go through everything we have tomorrow.
Yeah, and I think the other one was from just talking at the start there, that Aurora Barena Sasnovich over.
Yeah, exactly.
Well.
That's not a bad look. I'll double check that. I don't know if I'm gonna bet that right now, but over 20.5, over 21, over 2.5 sets, maybe go half a unit over 2.5 sets, half a unit on the over 21. I think those are pretty good looks.
Sounds good. All righty. Well, I think we did pretty well to get through that whole list there in not too bad a time. I reckon
we even had a little break while you went away.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'll try and sort out a way to kind of troubleshoot that in future. But we should do this again sometime.
I think we will. I look forward to it. I think we're going to be doing this a lot this season. You announced that a lot more of your content, pretty much all your content, actually is going to be free now. So we hope to have you doing some. We'll have you on the Net Worth podcast, of course. I think we'll be doing some Net Worth live stuff where we'll be on yours, you'll be on ours. So a lot of content. We're at home, folks. We might as well do something.
Exactly. Look, we'll see how we go. It should be a bit of fun. Thank you very much for joining.
We can do better.
Yeah, we'll be back soon. So hopefully, there'll be a bit more content. Keep an eye out. My outright preview will be up shortly at Betfair. Yours is up at deepdive.co.
Deepdivemedia.co. And then the Net Worth podcast preview, we put that out this morning. So that's on podcast networks everywhere. You can find both on Twitter. Me, see my handle there at the bottom, and then at Net Worth Pod, you can find everything we do there.
Perfect. All righty. We will talk to you soon, and we'll leave it there.
Pleasure, Steve. Thanks, everybody.
We'll chat soon.